So, welcome to Sacred Bond, the Divine Exchange. I tell you, this exchange is going to be supernatural, on purpose, loads of success, huge amount of intelligence. I have Dr. Robert Holden in the building. I'm so excited. He's not only been an amazing mentor, he has been a leading light for me and for many. I mean, he transforms lives. He works with CEOs. He's been on the Oprah Winfrey Show, TEDx talks. I mean, I could go on and on about his CV, but I'd like to simply call him a spiritual rock star. He's a spiritual gardener as well. And yeah, he's a cosmic companion that you want an adventure in this life if you want to expand it and find out why you were put on this planet. So, who better to talk to other than Robert about divine connection? How can we make it, find it, keep it, and keep letting it expand us and grow so that we are not only of service to ourselves to be the safer people we can be around, but to transform and help other peoples as well. So, this is a celebration of life. This is a celebration of community. And with that, I look forward to talking to Robert some more. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the ride. So, Robert, thank you so much for joining me on the Divine Exchange at Sacred Bond. I have been waiting for this conversation for so long and to share you with the world because loads of people know about you on Oprah and, your TEDx talks. I've already described you more or less as just a spiritual phenomenon. And everybody needs a Robert in their back pocket because then we just become better people because you inspire us and make us believe in ourselves. And yeah, you let us walk the path with grace. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. What I'd like to do is discuss about divine connection.
Great.
How do we get it? How do you get it? How do you know you've got it? And yeah, just for other people out there, little techniques where we can bring it in. And then just when that feeling, when you can listen to that voice and not these ones up here that can drive us a little bit crazy.
Sounds good. That's
Okay.
great. Well, Karen, thank you for having me here as well. And I've been looking forward to this conversation very much too. So here we are. And yeah, divine connection. So, I mean, my first thought is that you don't have to get it. It's already got you.
Okay. This is Robert Holden at his, I just love it. That's immediate wisdom.
Yeah, we have to start that way because if we think we've got to try and get it, then that would assume it's not already here.
Oh.
So I think that sense of connection is always with us. Now, that said, most of us, this is not the experience of our life. For most of us, we have an experience of a profound disconnect at some point in our life where we do feel we are disconnected actually from life and from everything that matters. And that can cause us often to feel really, really alone and as if we have to do life by ourselves. And that feeling of lost connection, sometimes comes up on our internet screen, doesn't it? Connection lost. There's this feeling of a connection that's lost is really painful, really scary, and actually can cause us often to feel very, very anxious as well, and as if we have to navigate our life by our own psychology. So I think we just have to lay it down and begin by saying we do have the experience of feeling as if there isn't a connection, but actually the connection is always there. And we won't know that normally until we find a way to become nice and still, nice and present, normally with the help of a friend, normally with the help of somebody who knows about that connection, who once upon a time lost it themselves too, but has found it again. And then they can remind you of the sacred bond that always exists between you and the whole of life. The idea of separation is an optical delusion. So this is how Einstein put it. Separation is an optical delusion. You can't be separate from the divine. The divine doesn't work like that. It won't allow it. The oneness is always the oneness. So we can start by just remembering that the connection's always got us. And if the connection's always got us, then our work isn't so much to try really, really hard to get the connection. It's more and more to relax into the connection, to light a candle, to say thank you, to take a deep breath, to be present. And then often I think it can begin simply with even a thank you. A thank you before we've even experienced the connection. And then hopefully we begin to recognize how the connection wants to speak to us. Because I think that's important, because sometimes divine connection speaks to us through our body. We get, we get the sort of the tingles. We get the sense of, the chicken skin. We get a feeling of a feeling down our spine sometimes, a tap on our shoulder. It can be like that. But then also for some of us, it's maybe more of a feeling. It's more something to do in the heart area. So we begin to pay attention like that. Or it might be a thought, an idea, a visualization that happens to us in our mind. Some of us have a mind that recognizes patterns, that recognizes the way words sound. And they're able to find a meaning inside the way a word sounds, and they're able to put one and one together and find a way to do that. I know somebody who's really like that, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny, that, isn't it? You know what? I've just got to come in with that, because also there's that, being aware of what the feeling is. And then once you've shown up daily and sort of been there, so that I call them the team, know you're there.
Yeah.
And then invite the conversation, and it's to recognize how they speak to you.
That's right.
Whether it's
Exactly.
feathers or this. I do want to just pick up on what you just said about the words.
Yeah.
Because this is a question that I've got lined up, but you've got in the Peace Prayer by St. Francis of Assisi, whose feast day actually was only a few days ago as well. So we've got very auspicious time we're talking here. But it says, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Now, I know it's spelt peace as in calm.
Yeah.
But every time I hear it as I'm a piece of a puzzle. I'm a piece. And it gives me great inclusion, a feeling of inclusion.
Yeah, that's one of your gifts, is that you allow the meaning to come through to you, in these ways that lands for you in a way that also you can recognize it as well, which is super cool, isn't it? And it's definitely one of your gifts. And I think, so therefore, when it comes to like feeling the connection, it's knowing that the connection's already got us, and then it is paying attention. We've got to pay attention. And a lot of times when we don't feel the connection, often we're panicking, not paying attention. Often we're running a story like I'm not connected. Yeah. But actually our work is to meet that story with lots of love. It's to meet the panic, and then it's to be able to say, right, I'm going to pay attention. And I'm going to really see if I can notice how the connection's got me today and how it's trying to speak to me as well. And it may well be a white feather on the floor. It might well be a butterfly, a bumblebee, something that's like a talisman, a symbol. It could be like that.
I've got to share one with you today. I mean, you couldn't make it up. Okay, walking the dogs this morning, because that for me is a living meditation, just walking the dogs and listening to conversations with other dog walkers. But today, on my own with the two dogs, a big black cow in front of us by a kissing gate, the ones that go round.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'll try and sneak in with the girls. They're very big dogs. This is a very big heifer. And I went, excuse me. And no, wasn't having it, came nearer. So we ran away a little bit. And then I went, it's either this, this is a dilemma. And I actually videoed it because I thought it was so funny. Anyway, the cow ended up going into the kissing gate and not leaving it. So I went, what is the spiritual lesson here? I went, go and use another gate. Find a different path. I mean, that's very superficial, but it made me laugh because it was so out there.
Yeah, but what I love as well is you are speaking to the connection in an everyday moment. And I think for a lot of us, what we do is we save up the whole idea of connection and being guided for one or two big moments in our life instead of the everyday moments. You know, I mean, and so therefore we're completely, when we really need the connection and we really need the guidance, we're completely out of practice because we haven't been taking it into those everyday moments, just like you've described right now. So I love that, Karen, and I think it has to be our habit to learn to be guided in everything, not just the big things, so-called big things, but in everything. And I learned this, by the way, from the wonderful Louise Hay, who really did make a point of allowing herself to be guided in all of her choices. You know, she is the person who wrote the book You Can Heal Your Life, a book that's ended up selling over 50 million copies around the world and still counting. But you know, she would every single day of her life, on waking, the first thing she would do is she would thank her bed for a wonderful sleep. Thank you, dear bed, for a wonderful sleep. Now, just that act alone, I think, set up what the mystics sometimes call basic openness. I'm open and available for blessings today. And it started with thanking my bed for a wonderful sleep last night. After that, with that amount of openness, we can move into the day and hopefully really, you know, let ourselves be guided in the everyday things. We can listen to our body and what our body would most like us to eat for breakfast, for example, this morning. We can take that walk in nature and we can get a feeling for what is a really loving decision for me to make today, you know, for my life and what I'm about to get up to, that type of thing. So I love that you had an experience like that, because to me, that's the great teaching, is that we do this work every day, not just on special occasions.
And the other message I got through on the dog walk, joined by another new dog walker today, we all started singing for the hell of it. And I don't know where it came from, in the drizzle, in the rain. And then suddenly, out of karaoke numbers where you can expect the usual, suddenly out of nowhere, I heard my neighbor singing Lying in the Arms of Mary.
Wow.
I knew you'd go, that's wow. And I left her walking along the road and I was singing it the whole way to where I met the cow. And you and I know why that means so much to me, because of, obviously, Mary is a big influence for me. And I had chosen to go on the dog walk because I wanted to prepare to talk to you this evening and let in guidance.
Yeah.
So that was really good. I want to just pick you up on the separateness, because that's what Sacred Bond is all about, is to, when people find themselves in that dark place and feeling separate and lonely, and, sometimes you can't even voice what you're feeling and you can't even say it to someone else. That's why I'm trying to find the keys for the sacred bond, so that you know that you can always go somewhere. And you very kindly put me on to Mary Oliver only very recently. Yeah.
Great.
The devotions, because I mean, aren't poems just, the words are living blessings. And I turned to it as I did, just saying, please give me inspiration for today. And I thought this fits off the back of separation, and it's called loneliness. I too have known loneliness. I too have known what it is to feel misunderstood, rejected, and suddenly not at all beautiful. Oh, Mother Earth, your comfort is great. Your arms never withhold. It has saved my life to know this. Your rivers flowing, your roses opening in the morning. Oh, motions of tenderness. And I think that's especially poignant because you've got those beautiful roses in the background that are actually at their most open as well, which again is confirmation that we know we have people in the room with us, both
Mm-hmm.
your end and my end, and with the people watching, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't it extraordinary, really, in a way that, loneliness is such a personal experience, and yet it is a universal experience too. I don't think there's anybody who's ever walked this earth who hasn't felt the loneliness.
Mm.
And it has to be something to do with this primal wound of humanity's, which is our sense of separateness. The sense that we are somehow separate from the divine, but not just separate from divine, we're also separate from nature. And we have this sense of separateness from ourselves. And it can be one of the scariest and most awful feelings in the world, where you suddenly don't feel beautiful, as Mary Oliver points out. And yet our work is to be able to meet that loneliness, so that we can really, really see that it's a very, very big feeling, but just because it's a very, very big feeling doesn't mean it's really true. The mystics have this saying that we're never alone when we're alone. In the mystics, in fact, throughout ancient times, including St. Francis loved a good pilgrimage. So he would approve of dog walking all day long.
Yes.
But he also loved his solitude. And solitude sounds really lonely at first, on first hearing. But it is amazing that often when you really, really enter the solitude, and interestingly, and this is the paradox, when you meet loneliness with love, you stop feeling so alone. Now, to be able to meet loneliness with love, that's quite a big ask. And it's not the sort of thing we can often do by ourselves. That's, again, when we need our friends. And we often also need sometimes skilled helpers to really help us with that. But the good news is that whenever we find a way to meet loneliness with honesty and love, we will not feel so alone afterwards. And that's the good news.
I think you've just brought back a memory from childhood, when I have experienced that, very much so. And I wrote on a tiny piece of paper. I still write on tiny pieces of paper and fold them up, but today I put them in angel bowls. But this little piece of paper, when I was feeling very lost and very alone and contemplating, how do you get out of this? How do you stop it all? I'd folded it up and I put it under a music box. And I went to move my music box about a week later, and underneath, I unfolded it, and there was extra writing on it. And there was a note, and because I'd written, "Nobody loves me."
Mm.
I was 11.
Yeah.
And I totally believed that.
Yeah.
And underneath it, it wrote, "I do love Betty." Betty was our cleaner.
Oh, Betty.
Oh, we love Betty.
Oh
I
my
love,
God.
and it was, and we never spoke about it, but
Oh,
it was enough to give me like a jolt to the heart
yeah.
that somebody'd seen me and heard me, and oh my God, I mean, it just did so much for me.
I
I
love Betty.
I mean, so that was my angel that day. And
Mm.
so I do understand that loneliness, and other people do too.
Yeah.
And it's how we can help them know that they're part of the bigger,
Yeah.
and how to ask.
It's such a strange thing, but it seems that loneliness looks like, at first glance, it looks like a wall. But if you get close up to loneliness, it seems to be more like a doorway into something.
Oh,
So, but initially it looks like a wall, and you if you don't examine the wall, you just keep yourself at arm's length from loneliness, and quite understandably, but even that makes you feel alone, because you're even avoiding your own loneliness. But when we find a way to meet that loneliness, get a little bit more intimate with it, it does seem to be a doorway. And something happens, and I don't know exactly how it happens, but what is true is that the loneliness turns into some sort of an experience of the oneness, and there is something where we feel more connected to ourselves. And because, sometimes I think this is a St. Francis idea, really, which is loving the unlovable. When loneliness doesn't feel like a very lovable experience, but if you can learn to love the unlovable, somehow we do experience some sort of a miracle. And by a miracle, I mean like a shift in our experience, where suddenly something that was frightening now is inviting, and it's inviting us into a new experience of something. So it's the thing we all experience, that we're all scared of, that's brought all of us to our knees at one time or another. But actually, it is a doorway into something ultimately rather wonderful, when we realize that we are really never alone. It's impossible, because the oneness is always the oneness.
And I was going to go somewhere else with this, but I just, I've been to many of your wonderful workshops, keynotes. I just love them all. And I mentioned to you once that I feel that in the room, you said you've written an open letter to your father in a way with with your happiness project,
mm-hmm.
and you've written an open letter to your mother.
Yeah.
In Loveability, is that the one for
Yeah.
her?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm in a room, a Robert Holden room, that I've got your mother and father's spirits there with us in the people,
Mm.
because you are loving us better.
Mm.
You are helping loving all of us better, because you can just feel your heart wants to do that for us. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
it
Yeah.
is. And then I'm going to bring this in and trying to marry it to something that I saw this morning in a meditation for you, which will link with that. But you very kindly, and we're going to put a proper picture up on screen, but just for the moment, for now, this is a very rough black and white printout of a little boy with big attitude, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, and what I love is I actually recognize you in this, Robert, because you've got the quizzical look, but you've got it
Mm-hmm.
all going on. All know about it. But the hands on the hips, you do
Yeah.
that in your lectures all the time, down to your whole stance. And, for me, this little Aries chap
Yeah.
is completely on purpose. And I think you're on purpose as a son, as well as a
Mm-hmm.
father, as well as a
Mm.
coach, as well as a mentor. I think
Mm.
you've been on that track from the beginning. And obviously, purpose is something you bring a sense of to us. And just to finish, I'll go back to this meditation this morning. I have to share it with you now, sorry,
Yeah.
but I asked, and you came up the beach, but you were called Jesus in my meditation. You were
Mm-hmm.
okay, and you had like as many children that could hold your hands as possible, either side, skipping along with you, all of them, like skipping along. And I'm going, oh, okay. And I went, what's this about, to my team? And they went, because he can see the child in all of us.
Mm. Wow. Yeah.
And I think, and that's where I got that from.
Mm. Wow. Gosh, thank you for it, Karen. That's really amazing. You've given me, like, I don't think I could ever forget hearing that now that you've said it. It's really beautiful. Thank you.
It's just that you've always told us about your parents
Yeah.
and struggles, and that was sort of a driver. But I feel that you're the ultimate child that can see the children in everyone.
Yeah. Well, so with mum and dad, with my mum, she experienced recurring bouts of depression.
Mm.
Um, all well, I just don't remember a time when she didn't. So this was always happening really for her. And this depression would come and go. And so that in itself was a really uh, that was just a very big part of our story together. It was part of family life that mum would have these episodes of depression. And by the way, I remember I would say to her, because I'd be sitting, and sometimes she would really hold my hand and squeeze it and she'd say, don't let go, don't let go. And depression's an odd word. When you hear the word depression, it's like, what is that really? Because it doesn't really describe a feeling or anything. And when I would ask her, really, really, mum, what are you feeling? She'd say loneliness, aloneness. Which we learn to say the word depression because it's the word people sometimes give to us, but it's not. Depression is it's just the start of the inquiry, and for mum it was loneliness for sure. Now, and then with my dad experienced alcoholism, and then he eventually he left home when he was about 15, and he spent the next 10 years of his life living, sometimes homeless, sometimes not. But the whole time, what I would say, Karen, is I would look at them both and I would be wondering, why don't you get it? Why don't you realize how lovely you are? Like, to me, it was just obvious. It was so to the point I think you've been making. It's like the way I saw them, I just saw that they were amazing. So it was bewildering to me that they were even having a problem about anything. Because I'm just thinking, oh my God, you're just so great. You're my mum, and like I completely love you, Dad. You're amazing. You're a hero. I completely love you. So I mean, from a early age, I did realize that for the most part, what I was seeing wasn't what other people were seeing. And that started with mum and dad. After that, when I started to do the work, if you like, it was often this sense of, I'd been trained in psychology, I'd been trained in diagnosis for sure. But that I don't know. I mean, you need to know what a diagnosis is for sure, but first and foremost, you need to be trained in how to see someone. The work starts with seeing someone, not their diagnosis, but seeing who they are. If you can see who somebody is, you can call that forward. If you can only see someone's diagnosis, you're not treating them. You're just treating a diagnosis. And therefore, in my experience, you don't get very far. So the first part of the work is to be able to see somebody. And how do you do that? Well, interestingly, from a psychology point of view, the only way you can see someone is if you're not judging them.
Oh, yep.
It's the only way you can see someone. You've got to drop your judgments about someone if you want to see who they are. If you judge someone, all you're seeing is your judgments about them.
Yeah.
Now, if you're happy with that, well, stay with that if you like. But if you want to get a little bit more interested in who the person really is, drop your judgments, and then you'll start to see who they are. After that, in my work, then you might get a diagnosis. Then you may get an idea from the connection, a guidance as to what we should look at. But Karen, it always starts with the feeling of seeing somebody for who they really are, being able to see their I am, if you like.
I completely get that. And I also would add, it's a bit like playing cards, and I will add to that. Um, I get those moments when I'm in session with someone and
Mm.
or in a conversation or walking the dogs with someone, but you just get that moment and I am completely just holding their reflection.
Yes.
And then I see them see themselves in me.
Yes.
And then they'll say, oh, you're this or you're that. But it's them.
Mm.
They've seen themselves.
Mm.
And they do know when they've done it. And it is a sacred moment.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful to behold that you've given them that reflection, so that they have got, like you were just saying about your parents, you could see they were lovable, you could see they were fantastic, and you
Yeah.
couldn't work out how they
Yeah.
couldn't. So it's not, yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's what it is. That's what, and in a way, I think, what we're describing here is friendship, real friendship. Friends, a real friend is somebody who can see you. They see the essence of who you are, and they can see that you're maybe dealing with a self-image that has some judgments and some shame and some worries and everything else. But we know the difference between the essence of who someone is and their self-image, and being able to see both, I guess, I think that's what being a real friend is.
Well, I'd also, again,
You're going to raise me.
add, yeah, I'll go raise you.
I'll raise you and see
Another
you.
round, yeah. I'll raise you another white feather. No, in fact, that can happen with a stranger,
Yeah.
a stranger on a train,
Mm.
And it happened this weekend on a coach camp with you. Never met the person that I was doing an exercise with, and in fact, it happened a few times where you just are holding, and they see themselves. And I think this is a very important key to tell people, to let people know that when they are, because if you can see someone in trouble on the street, yeah, or someone that might need you, and you've just got a gut feeling that perhaps rather than walk the other way, you should just take that moment to say something. What's the worst that could happen? They could just go away, or they could go, oh, you might have just saved their life. And it's just taking that sacred moment to know that you don't have to be their friend to be their friend in that moment that could make the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're brilliant at that. You will always follow your impulse, won't you? It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can feel where it's coming from.
Mm.
Yeah. And if it's a trigger or if if it's a feeling.
Yeah.
So yeah. By the way, we're going to put pictures up of your mother and father as well, because I loved when you sent that image. And yeah, I was actually going to say, by the way, this is me, because I wanted to have a little play date with you. And I think we're from the same tribe because we've got the ski jump noses there. I thought, yeah,
Yes.
there you go. Lighten the mood.
There we go.
I just want to do something that you do. You've got a hat, a famous hat, and you like to pull out people's names and ask them a question. But I've just got, I'll show you, because they're different. Actually, they're based on colors, the chakras, you see?
Nice.
Brought it in again. So you can pick by color or whatever. I just thought I'd do a random question. What
All
would
right.
you like?
Let's I want to do yellow and green. Can I choose two?
Of course you can.
Yeah, let's start yellow.
Let's start yellow. What that's really interesting. Yeah. I've got two things on that, but I'm going to do both of them.
Yeah.
Actually, no, because we're doing fun, I'm going to go for the second one first, which is, so when we fully express ourselves, we can do it in many ways. And I've got sport or music here. And I know you're a great cricket fan.
Yes,
And
I
I
am.
know you did have a rock band, didn't you? In your younger times, you were a guitarist.
I
We've got
did.
that picture that we're going to put up as well.
Yeah,
I think they're
yeah.
going to be pretty surprised about that picture, though, because you were wearing a Where's Wally hat or something.
There was a lot going on in that picture.
Yeah, we're going to enjoy that when we put that up in
Yeah.
the
You
edit.
were in a rock band, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were a
Okay.
singer.
Okay, that's snap.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, but I'm just so sport. So I was, when you go, how would you fully express yourself now? I'm just going, would you go
Yeah.
sport or music?
Oh, that's so good. Oh my God. Because something amazing happened in cricket today where basically England scored over 800 runs. Everybody needs to know this, by the way. They scored over 800 runs out in Pakistan, and Harry Brooks scored 317. All of this was happening this morning whilst I was meant to be working. So I haven't really been working. very much this morning because cricket, I mean, once cricket happens, I'm just, I don't know what to say. But let's okay, no, but let's go music. Come
We
on,
go with
let's do
music.
music.
Well, I'm going to go for a simple question. Are you going to
Hmm.
choose A or B? Are you going to choose Stevie Wonder over Barry Manilow?
Well, I mean, look, Barry Manilow does write the songs that makes the whole world sing. I think we all
Well,
know that.
yeah, we do.
And it's a wonderful thing. And I did fulfill an ambition recently, which was to take my daughter Bo and two of her friends to a Barry Manilow concert. And they were all acting super cool on the way up. They're like 17 years old, and going, what are we doing? And I just said, be prepared to be manalowed, because once you are manalowed, it is an amazing experience. And anybody listening to this who has been to a Barry Manilow concert, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And all I will say is, within 3 songs, all 3 girls were in tears. They were all going, Barry, Barry. Bo said to me, why haven't you introduced me to Barry before now? As if I'd been a really bad parent, really remiss. Barry Manilow is amazing. He is amazing. That said,
You see, I knew you'd go for this. I knew you wouldn't do A or B because you want to
no,
be lovable you're loved by everyone, don't you?
I love Barry. Barry is really important. And Stevie Wonder is, as Sting once said, when he introduced him at a concert one day, he said, ladies and gentlemen, Stevie Wonder, a higher being. And I just think Stevie Wonder is that. He brings his higher being down through him. He makes himself an instrument. And what can we say about his music? It's just extraordinary. I think the song As is probably the greatest love song that I think was ever written. A song about enduring unconditional love. And I remember him at the O2, on one occasion at the end of the concert. He said, if make your heart big enough to love someone, and if you can, make your heart big enough to love everyone. And that's him when he's not even singing. That's just him when he's talking. Also, if I may just say, it was about, I think it must be probably 2019 now, he performed the whole of Songs in the Key of Life at Hyde Park, and he turned that wonderful, wonderful park into like an etheric cathedral that night. The trees were beings, the stars were out, and he delivered something that I will just say was one of the most spiritual moments of my life. So that's Stevie Wonder.
It's divine connection.
It is divine connection. Beautifully
Divine
said.
connection.
Yeah.
I'm just going to, I haven't forgotten your green one.
Okay, good.
But Stevie Wonder has beautifully introduced this, which is another saying that I opened up for today for inspiration. And it's from Mother Teresa's Meditation from a Simple Path.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I've introduced Robert Holden to a book. That is a first. Well, apart from my own that I wrote myself, but hey.
That's true. That's true. Second time.
So this is from Mother Teresa. It says, try to feel the need for prayer often during the day and take the trouble to pray. Prayer makes the heart large enough until it can contain God's gift of himself. Ask and seek, and your heart will grow big enough to receive him and keep him as your own. Which I believe is, as Stevie Wonder put so eloquently as well, and is important because I've got a question about whether, yes, we'll go on to faith in a minute, but
Yeah.
on your green card,
Thank you.
the image is really cool, by the way. Oh no, we can't see it. Can you see it? It's a heart with quote marks around it.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Which I do a lot. I love that.
Yeah.
And I've just called it heart.
Yeah, you're a doodler, aren't you?
I'm a doodler. Listen,
Yeah.
you're a dude. I'm a doodler.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, so I've got Robert, what does your heart say to you today?
Oh, I love that. Okay. Um, right now, my heart is saying, this is a lot of fun, isn't it? Hanging out with Karen, doing this. Seriously, it does. There's just this, that's the feeling. My heart's very, very happy to be doing this, which is just completely amazing. Um, and I think I also want to say it's probably, if we go back to connection again for a minute, like it's a really, really big thing to take. I think one of the great journeys of my life has been that, I was, especially early on, because of what happened to mum and dad, I really sort of thought I had to think everything through in my life. And I became very thoughtful. And I think actually even that younger picture, that 4-year-old, he's quite thoughtful. There's a lot of thinking going on inside him. What am I doing here? What's life even about? What are we doing? Um, Come on, I need some answers. It's like that, you
It is,
know?
come on, I need some answers.
Yeah, it's got all of that going on, hasn't it? And um, I feel that a lot of the great work of my life has been to sort of just take that little journey. It's only a few inches down from the head into the heart, but that journey takes quite a while for some of us, and it certainly took a long time for me. But making friends with the wisdom of my own heart has been a very, very important journey. And when you talk about connection, I think normally I start there. It's that feeling of, am I connected to the wisdom of my heart today? Can I feel that? And am I on speaking terms with that wisdom? It's really important. So,
Mm.
yeah.
So you didn't answer the question, by the
Well,
way.
no, because it was saying to me, literally,
What was it saying?
it was saying to me, like, I'm really enjoying this. Like, if you like, it's saying, do more of this.
Do more of this. Do you want another
Yes.
card then?
Yes, please. More of this. Okay. And
Okay,
also
you want
part
more
two
of
with you on
this,
your
and then I'm looking
podcast
at
as
the
well.
time. Okay, if you've got the time. So we've got those ones left. We've got pink, blue, and purple.
Well, look, I'm a West Ham United fan, so it's got to be that sort of purpley thing that looks a little bit like a West Ham shirt. There you go.
Well, the other thing is you could have had the clue in the questions because I teamed them up with the color of the chakras.
Well, I did. You did say
You
that.
sussed that, did you?
No, you said that. I
Oh, did I? All
Yeah, you
right
did. You
then.
gave that away.
Okay. Well, you okay, right. So obviously we're
Yeah.
here.
All right.
We're in. Mm, well, this
Mm.
is the very important one, and this is why actually Sacred Bond is about one. I'm going to ask you to give me 3 daily practices, but before that, I would like to just go to these two words: church versus faith.
Mhm.
Because for me, recently discussing it, it's is it a place or a feeling? What do you feel on those two words?
Well, is church a place or a feeling? I will share with you, if I may, a lovely line from my wife Holly's poem, which is a line which describes the holy church of noticing.
Mhm.
Um, and it's a poem which is about paying attention to our lives and going to the holy church of noticing, which I think speaks to this idea that really, although a place may be called a church, in the end it is much more etheric than that. It's is much more a a quality of attention that we bring to the place we're in.
Mm.
And what I love, by the way, about what you've done is you've taken the work, you've put sacred right at the heart of what you do. And I'm so happy you've done that because, you know, we have to, I think, recover a sense of the sacred for all sorts of reasons. Um, and one of those reasons, though, is sometimes is that I think sometimes we think that anything that's sacred belongs to people who are wearing robes or something of the equivalent. But of course, the sacred is in the everyday, and it is in the ordinary, really. And we do know this. Everybody knows this, really. But all of us need a bit of reminding.
Yeah.
We all of us need to know that the ordinary isn't that ordinary, really. Not when you've got eyes for it. And to be able to have a feeling for the sacred is super important. We talk so much these days about climate change and all the things that we might be able to do to help save our planet. I would say right up at the front of all of it, if we are going to do this, we have to firstly start by remembering, for example, that a tree is sacred. If you can find that a tree is sacred, you'll want to save it. It's as simple as that. If you find a butterfly is sacred, or I don't know, a ladybug is sacred, you don't want to step on it, you want to save it.
Yeah.
It's just it. So recovering the sense of the sacred, I think, is the great work of our time. I really do mean that. I think we've got to find a way to make sacred cool again, and not feel like you can only talk about the sacred if you're wearing robes. That's not true. It's everywhere.
Well, you've led me on nicely, and I am keeping an eye on time because I am respectful of your time. But
it's okay, because we're going to do a part 2 anyway at some point, aren't we? That's what my heart said. So can we do a part 2? So
your heart said that.
yeah,
And
so we can relax.
The heart cannot lie.
The heart cannot lie. So we can relax in the knowledge that
that's cool. I will relax. I am relaxed. Listen.
But I'm curious. I've got to be honest. I'm curious because there were those 2 other cards with the 2 other colors. I don't know how to let that go. I mean, you can't just.
I know you're not very good at letting things go. You can't let people go, can you?
No, that's
By the way, I'm just going to say, anyone who's considering the SI Mastermind and considering going there to have a one-to-one and a close-up and personal experience of Robert's fantasticness, as you can see. What was I going to say? Just do it, because there are bonus classes and bonus classes at the end, because he just doesn't want to say goodbye to you. And then you have this extended family, haven't you?
Yeah,
You've just got loads of. So I'm going to say that. So that was that.
Okay.
But I'll let you have the fun after we've just come up with this. This is a passion of mine, and it leads off the back of your sacred. You said this is important. It is frigging important. I think I'm allowed to say that word.
Yes.
They've taken religious education off the school timetables. Have they replaced it with anything? No. Did you bring the Happiness Project into being 30 odd years ago? You did. Has it been picked up by other people, including the Dalai Lama with the Happiness in Action? It's out there. And I believe Stress Buster was before it. So when we get back to the raison d'etre of why I built Sacred Bond and the Belong page to give support to people, is where do people nowadays find their center? And I believe, Robert Holden, you are the man to bring these classes to the masses, into the schools, and have those lessons there instead of mobile phones, just that sacred moment to know where their heart is. Because happiness can be a big word for many.
Yeah.
And you're always talking about how you're evolving your work and how you're evolving your work. And I'm just absolutely screaming out there that it needs to be on the timetable.
Yeah, I think so you're referring to like the work with the Happiness Project, which was my main work through the 1990s. It's true, and continues obviously to be a key part of the work to this day as well. I mean, I think also just to the same issue, but saying it in another way, I mean, is I'm up for our whole education system to be reimagined, frankly. Because I
you just trumped me there.
But part of the reimagining is to introduce these classes. The classes, how about a class at school on inspiration? How about a class at school on self-esteem? How about a class at school on real beauty? And what is real beauty anyway? You know, those sorts of subjects I think would be absolutely amazing. And I mean, the good news is that you know, those classes do happen here, there, and everywhere, but they're not on the curriculum. They're normally the initiative of very wonderful teachers who are on purpose, and who are trying to teach something valuable, sometimes in spite of the curriculum, you know. So you know, spirit always finds a way. And when you meet somebody who's connected, they can't help themselves. They'll always want to introduce a little bit of something wonderful into the curriculum, like knowing what inspires you, following your joy, working out what real self-esteem is, being able to see the beauty in yourself and others. All of that.
I know that's so needed for our young people.
Yeah,
so
it is
needed. And when I've been into schools and I've given a few talks, and that was actually about just finding I call it mind free time, so that people can just do the stop and the pause and delve into their imagination, get into that creativity, and then they've got a chance of getting to purpose.
Yeah. Wonderful.
And
I love that you do that, Karen. That is, you see, that's just great.
But the youngsters, it's the ones that stay around after the talk, and that you can see them hanging around. They're waiting to just get you on their own, aren't they? Those ones.
Yeah,
and,
that's
you
right.
know, they tiptoe over, and then they go, you know, is there hope? And you can give them the hope, and they can do these things. And, you know, with both boys and girls, they love angel cards, for instance. And I know, you know, you and your wife, Holly, and Louise Hay, of course, have just, and Kyle Gray. I mean, there's so many out there now, but they have got inspiration cards in different languages with different images that can just help. Even if they're carrying it in their school bag, that's their inspiration for the day or the week. You know, there are these things, these tools that you and I know about that I just think it should be more readily available.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I mean, I think then that's our work to do that as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I can see the time, but I've got there's lots of things I've got to, but part of I'm still holding those up, but they're like a little carrot at the moment.
Oh, they really are.
I know, but I just want to let you know about something.
Okay. I'll keep listening to this bit, but I'm just
but really
I'm
you want
interested in just the
those. I'll keep
cards.
them
Go
up my
on, say what you're
sleeve.
going to say, and then get on with the cards. Yeah.
He's never been. Oh, right. Well, I just want to share these with you because I actually went to the trouble of boiling some eggs today.
Did you?
Hard-boiled eggs. They're all hard-boiled. I was thinking
Yeah.
of not boiling one and going which one isn't, but that's not the point. The
No.
point is I did these eggs, and have you noticed there are 3?
Yes.
It's because in the meditation this morning, as you were coming up the beach with all these children holding your hands, I can't tell you how many. It was like the balloons. You know how you hold balloons in the air, but the other way?
Yeah.
And they were children on the sand coming up, and your name was Jesus. And I got the name Rory, and I looked it up, and it's Red King. So I felt Christ-like there on the red. And then I went, well, is there anything you can help me with? Because it was about you in this interview today. And they went, he's got some eggs up his sleeve.
Huh.
Eggs. So I went, eggs? What do you mean up his sleeve? So this is where my question to you is, what are you incubating?
Yes.
What are you sitting on for the future? And what are your new projects you're going to be bringing into being?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I need you to know that for lunch today, I had 3 boiled eggs.
No, you did not. No, you did. No.
I did.
Sorry, really?
Yeah.
No.
Which would be, you know, like if I did that every day, it would still be something, but I don't. I mean, I had 3 boiled eggs.
I can't, even me, I can't believe that.
Yeah.
But usually when I say to people, when you can't believe it, it's true.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hang on. Can I just go up on that one then?
Yeah.
But I bet it didn't have words written on them then.
So what? That one's got more.
Yes,
Yeah,
because I listened to your fabulous TED talk, and
oh,
I still think you're a great comedian.
that was
Um,
the tea meditation. Yeah,
that was the
yes,
land of more.
I know, it's
But
fun.
on the back of it, I wrote less because
Yeah.
I also believe that taking the time out to do less and to
Hmm.
stop is great.
Yeah.
I then also wrote on it Angel of Forgiveness.
Ooh, love that. Yeah,
I know, and I know we could expand on that.
good.
But you see, the one that is the original individual and universal blessing, but I left it for you like that
Mm.
because I believe that you haven't actually laid that egg yet.
Yeah, you're right. I think that makes sense to me. I mean, the project that's just about to sort of come into the world now is to do with something called the Enneagram.
Mm.
And the Enneagram, strange sounding word, it's a Greek word meaning model of nine, and it refers to nine personality types. And through Hay House, my publishers, we have a quiz that is about to be launched, which I've been working on for a year. And I've also been working on the book, which will come out next year, Know Yourself, with the help of the wisdom of the Enneagram. It's called Know Yourself and Your Friends and Family Too, using the wisdom of the Enneagram. Now, this personality type model is for me just the most well observed, respectful, helpful model I've ever come across. So that is, Karen, on its way. And it's very, very exciting that it will finally be out and about. And actually, the Enneagram is being introduced into one or two schools at the moment as being a really, really helpful model for just self knowledge and
Wow.
understanding how we tick and making the most of that. It's a very respectful model. It's not trying to find anything wrong with you. It's pointing out that you've got a path of growth, but it's not starting from the place of, hey, here's the thing that's wrong with you. It's more, this is who you are. These are your soul gifts. This is how you show up in the world in a very cool way. So that's a really good one. Yeah. So that is a project. And I just want you to know, and this is why I'm so grateful for our friendship, is because I do feel that you are somebody who sees my who I am and my potential.
Mm.
So both at the same time, which is really, really lovely. And so I'm just going to say thank you to you for showing me the egg and for not eating it at lunchtime and
It's
being
my
able
supper.
to yeah and just being able just to you're and it had a question mark on it. There are one or two other eggs, and I it's too soon to speak about them, but I'm paying attention to the fact that you showed me that. So thank you.
I think they're in there.
Yeah.
Do you know what? The pink, I'm just holding up the pink here,
Yeah.
but you know, you're not going to believe it. Says, show me my soul gift. What's yours?
Okay. Oh, I love that. By the way, pink in the chakras, where does that belong then?
I know. Yeah, that's a good one. It's unconditional. Oh, look. Oh, this is just cosmic cards, isn't it? I love it. It's unconditional.
You just invented a chakra, didn't you?
No, it's
It's typical. It's
unconditional.
typical of you.
It's
You just made up a chakra just like that.
there'll be quite a lot of people screaming at this. No, it's unconditional love, and it's in line with the ovaries. It's all to do with femininity, but it's really important that it is unconditional love.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, it
so
is.
that's where it is, and it's just up from the red.
Yes.
We're here.
Okay. I love that.
Okay.
Okay. Well done. Okay, that's good. Yes.
So
So,
the question is, what's your soul gift?
and then and show wasn't no, wait a minute. It was what's
Show
mine?
it says show me. No, it said show me my soul gift. What's
Yeah.
yours?
Yeah. All right. One of your definitely for me, one of your soul gifts is it's I could go so many different ways, but I want to say it's to do it's to do with your, like, you have got a sacred yes energy that has made you so completely resilient and unstoppable. And that yes energy is such a blessing and a gift to us all. For those of us who get rather tired and weary, to be picked up by your sacred yes energy is amazing. And it revives us and it refreshes us and it gives us the feeling that we can do it and keep going. So thank you. Yeah, that is definitely one of yours. One of my soul gifts is, let's think. I think it's something to do with reminding people that you don't have to be perfect to be amazing. You know, you already are, you know, being you is much better than being perfect, and trusting that you are beautifully made, that we are, each and every one of us are beautifully made, really. And when we stop trying so hard to be ourselves, and when we relax, something very, very lovely happens. And hopefully we get to feel that too, but everyone else does feel it for sure. But it is something about trusting, helping people to trust that they're already very well made, is, I think, is one of my soul gifts.
Because you do, I mean, I think we've come full circle here to your latest book, Loveability. Which, yeah, I mean, this is you all over, isn't it? It's about being lovable. It's just all to do with love, because I think all the work that we do, if you had to essence down everything to one word,
yeah,
many go for, I've always gone for truth as my essence word.
Yeah.
Perhaps I feel a bit safer with the word truth. But really, if we really squeeze it down, it's love.
All roads lead to love. So lovability is also, I think you'd like this, it's a word that doesn't exist in the dictionary. So
I knew that. I knew it was a Robert.
Yeah. So I know how you like to make up words. And so there you go. That's one of my words, love ability. And obviously it's to say, like, this is the ability to know how to love and be loved.
Oh, I see. Ability to love. Oh. Well, I hadn't realized that quite the bit about that, because it hasn't got the word properly in front of it. Because
Properly.
that's I love that. You always
Yeah.
sort of, to underline something, you say that's properly,
Yeah. Properly good. That's
yeah,
properly
properly.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
Properly important.
And it was just quite sweet and poignant. And I need to say that on that pink card, it says, how can I, it just says, how can I know I am loved? And that was for everyone. I'm asking for other people. How can someone know they are loved? How,
Well, I mean, I will just say, stop arguing with yourself about it. I mean, being really straight with you, I mean, it's the greatest truth of all, is that you're loved. You know, life loves us. And sometimes all we've got to do is stop arguing with ourselves about it, because we do. We'll go, oh no, I'm not loved because. It's not true. You can argue as much as you like, but eventually you're going to have to lose this argument. You are very lovable. Everybody is completely lovable, and they're lovable without a because. I think that's the important thing. We think we need a because in order to be lovable. But for example, when you look at a newborn baby, you don't say they're lovable because I imagine they're going to have a great IQ one day. They're lovable because they are going to be amazing one day. They're lovable already and they haven't even done anything. Now take that seriously, take that personally. There is something incredibly lovable about each and every one of us already. And that's the key. If you need a because, then we run into trouble. We can admire people for things. We can approve of people of things and all of that. But if we're talking about love, like the big love, the real love, the proper love, there's that word proper, then we've got to recognize it's already there. It's like the I am love is that's in our DNA already. That's written into our DNA right from the beginning.
I love that. So we've got to stop arguing with ourselves
Yeah.
that
Like
we
just
are.
give in.
And I know it's true because Betty told me.
She
Betty
did.
wrote that on that little note for me when
I
I was
love Betty.
11, and that was
I
my
really
wake
love
up call.
Betty. I think what style, by the way.
What,
Oh,
that I had a music box?
just the way she did it, she wrote it
I
and
know,
left it
and
at
just
that. I'm just thinking that Betty, right on.
I know. Listen, I'm aware of time. I'm going to
Mm,
round things up, but I would encourage people to get this crazy, fabulous, properly good book. Great
thank you.
read. And I opened it on chapter 11 today. Of course, I love chapter 11 because 11 is the angel master number, as you know. And it says, I love you. That's that chapter. And I would encourage anyone that didn't wanted to answer that question for themselves on a really good exercise is
Mm,
on page 95. I'm going to let them find it and work with it.
nice.
Um, we've had a lovely time
Have we
together.
still
Thank
got
you
another
so much.
card?
Sorry.
Haven't we still got another card, or did we
Yes.
do them all?
Can I just say who said that? Is that little voice there that just went, I think there's another card. All right.
Come on.
Hang on. All right. Is it blue? Have I done blue?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
blue.
What was
I hope
blue?
this doesn't change the mood. You might have just, or are you always trusting the hat?
I'm always trusting it. Go on.
Okay, well, hang on. I'm in candlelight here. Oh, well, we've done. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, here we go. Very interesting. So I just quite rightly identified who did that request come from? That little chap.
Yeah.
And the question is, childhood.
Mm.
What would your younger self say to you today, Master Robert?
It would say,
Hang on, not it. Let's get into the moment. Let's really enjoy this. So,
yeah,
your young self, and he is there. He's standing there
yeah,
with his hands on his hips, and he is inquiring, and he's
yeah,
just about to impart his wisdom to you.
yes.
And what is he going to tell you?
He's going to say, thank you very much for looking after me in the tricky years. And there were some tricky years. And and thank you very much for letting me come out to play more these days.
And I'd like to say thank you too for coming out to play, especially tonight. I am going to leave this sentiment to just round off to say thank you so much, Robert. And from your book, Loveability, we're in the week of October as we record this. We've mentioned it's Assisi, St. Francis's feast day, just gone past. We celebrate Louise Hay's birthday just a few days ago, of when she's kicked this all off for us.
Yeah.
She's in the room. I know that. She's always with you. I know that. And these are her words in closing that she says about you. Robert Holden is the ideal example of lovability. He certainly knows how to love and be loved. He loves everyone he knows, and we all love him in return. He knows and understands what stands in the way of loving ourselves and others. And most important, he knows and teaches how to dissolve these blocks. How could we not love him?
Mm.
So, with Louise Hay's words, might I say ditto, but that's a sacred ditto. Have a wonderful evening. I'm going to
Thank
enjoy
you.
my eggs. I don't know what you've got coming up. And I'm going to get some more colors for if there's
Yeah,
going to be a part two.
that
And thank,
was so brilliant, Karen. Thank you for a wonderful, wonderful time together, as ever,
as
as
ever,
always. And let's do a part two.
part two. Bring it on.
Okay.
For tonight, thank you so much.
Love you.
Blessings.
Bye.
Well, that was the living blessing. That is Dr. Robert Holden. What an absolute joy. And what a giggle. I mean, utter wisdom. What a guru. And on top of that, can laugh at himself, with us. I think humor is such a good delivery system for the divine, and the blessing therein. We've covered everything from childhood. Got messages through from his 4-year-old, which I just adored at the end there. There wasn't anything that was off limits, but the message from this is we aren't alone. We just aren't. We're made of stardust. We're part of this whole universe. And, if you're watching this and feeling alone, just know you're not. Just join a group or ask for help or chat to a friend or sing a song. Or, as Robert said in this interview, you are lovable, you are loved, and don't argue with yourself. Just accept that and be grateful every day for the universal love that is out there for you. We'll put all the links in the bottom with regard to how you can find Robert and his wonderful coaching sessions, mentoring, workshops. He covers a plethora of disciplines. And I know within one of those, you will find your home, your church, it's coming home. That's what it's all about. So I wish you well, and thank you for another enjoying with us, another sharing at the Divine Exchange.